um, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmittam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Nam Vanchakalpataruscha Kasindu Hevacha Patitanam Pavaneva Vaishnavev Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today I'm going to read. Thank you. Today we are from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter Canto 1, chapter 7. We are going to read about benefits of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Before that, I want to say Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve Krishna, Guru, and devotees. I'm a simple housewife and very insignificant, so please forgive me if I make any mistakes during this class. So, benefits of hearing Bhagavatam is Yasya vai Shruyamanaya Krishne Parama Purushe Bhaktir Utpadate Pumsham Shokamoha Bhayapaha. There are various senses. There are various senses of which the ear is most effective. This sense works even when a man is deep asleep. One can protect himself from the hands of an enemy while awake, but while asleep, one is protected by the ear only. The importance of hearing hearing is mentioned here in connection with attaining the highest perfection of life, namely getting free from three material pangs. Everyone is full of lamentation at every moment. He is after the mirage of illusionary things, and he is always afraid of his supposed enemy. These are the primary symptoms of the material disease, and it is definitely suggested herein that simply by hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one gets attached for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And as soon as this is affected, the symptoms of material disease disappear. Sri Vyasadeva saw all the perfect personality of Godhead, and in this statement, the all perfect personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is clearly confirmed. The ultimate result of devotional service is to develop genuine love for Supreme Personality. Love is a word which is often used in relation with man and woman, and love is the only word that can be properly used to indicate the relation between Lord Krishna and the living entities. The living entities are mentioned. The living entities are mentioned as Prakriti in Bhagavad Gita, and in Sanskrit, Prakriti is a feminine object. The Lord is always described as the Parama Purusha, or the supreme male personality. Thus, the affection between the Lord and the living entities is something like that between the male and the female. Therefore, the term love of Godhead is quite appropriate. Loving devotional service to the Lord begins with the hearing about the Lord. There is no difference between the Lord and the subject matter heard about him. The Lord is absolute in all respects, and thus there is no difference between him and the subject matter heard about him. Therefore, hearing about him means immediate contact with him by the process of vibration of the transcendental sound. And the transcendental sound is so effective that it acts as once by removing all material affections mentioned above. As mentioned before, a living entity develops a sort of complexity of material association, and the illusionary engagement to the material body is accepted as an actual fact. Under such false complexities, the living being under different categories of life become illusioned in different ways. Even in the most developed stage of human life, the same illusion prevails in the form of many isms and divides the living relation with the Lord and thereby divides the loving relation between man and man. By hearing the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, this false complexities of materialism is removed and the real peace of society begins, which politicians aspire for so eagerly in so many political situations. The politicians want a peaceful situation between man and nation, but at the same time, because too much attachment for material domination, there is a illusion and fearfulness. Therefore, the politicians' peace conference cannot bring about peace in the society. It can only be done by hearing the subject matter described in the Srimad Bhagavatam about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The foolish politicians may go on holding peace and summit conferences for hundreds of years, but they will fail to achieve success until we reach the stage of re establishing our lost relation with Krishna. The illusion of accepting the body as the self will prevail, and thus fearfulness will also prevail. As for the validity of Sri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are hundreds and thousands of evidences from revealed scriptures, and there are hundreds and thousands of evidences from personal experiences of devotees in various places like Vrindavan, Navadvip, and Puri. Even in the Kaumudi dictionary, the synopsis of Krishna are given as the son of Yashoda and the supreme personality of Godhead, Parabrahman. The conclusion is that simply by hearing the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, one can have direct connection with the supreme personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and thereby one can attain the highest perfection of life by transcending worldly miseries, illusions, and fearfulness. These are practical tests for one who has actually given the submissive hearing to the reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So today, uh, we are going to discuss on the how inspiring it is to see the value of forgiveness being followed in difficult situations. It also reminds us that Lord is always there for us and to help us. So in the Draupadi, from the chapter 7th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, suffers loses her 5 sons, and she chose to act from the place of dharma and compassion. Ashwatthama killed the sons of Draupadi in their sleep, thinking them to be Pandavas. She was extremely sad to lose her 5 sons in the battle. Arjuna, in order to pacify his wife and capture the wrongdoers, set out to capture Ashwatthama, who escaped. Ashwathama released ultimate weapon Brahmastra to protect himself. On experiencing the imminent danger, Arjuna took shelter of Lord Krishna and on his advice released another Brahmastra to counteract the one released by Ashwathama. He then retracted both weapons. Arjuna then arrested Ashwathama, Lord Krishna, while examining Arjuna in religion, uh, encouraged Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya. However, Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him, though Ashwathama was heinous murderer of Arjuna's family members. When Arjuna brought Ashwathama to the camp and put him before Draupadi, due to her female nature and due to her being naturally good and well behaved, she showed him due respect as Brahmanas. In our life, we in our life. We are always faced with different situations, and when there is an urgency of action, when you are at that time, you should be reflective, so you can become responsive. If you are not reflective, then you become reactive, and when there is a reversal in life, those reversal make us reflective, not reactive. Reflectiveness results in proper response. So if we just react to the situations without thinking what Krishna wants me to do about it, then what we do is we just react. We are not responsive, and always when you are reactive, you give wrong decisions. You you, you know you always end up giving emotional or political decisions, or political response. So what we should do as a devotee, that we should be able to give devotee response, and that is what Draupadi and Arjuna did in this situation. They gave devotional response rather than giving political or emotional response. So when Draupadi saw that her five sons were killed, she was very sad, but she was she was crying. She was like, Mata Shishunam Nidanam Satan Sandana Nisham Ghoram Paritapyamana Tadarudadvaspya Kala Kulakshi Tasan Kiritamali. Draupadi, the mother of five of Pandavas, after hearing the massacre of her sons, began to cry in distress with eyes full of tears. And Arjuna tried to pacify her, and he ran behind Ashwatthama. He captured him, and when he captured him, Shri Krishna, Lord Krishna, supported the killing. He said that he violated codes of religious war, and he tried to please his master, and he tried to kill them for his own benefit. And you have promised Draupadi, and he murdered, and this satisfied his master, as Duryodhana also said that he didn't approve of the did things he did. So Sri Krishna said that you can, and he is a Brahma Bandhu. Brahma Bandhu means he is a friend or a son of a Brahmana. So you can kill him, and this is what you have promised Draupadi. So you should kill him. But uh, Arjuna understands that Krishna is giving him a test, and when Arjuna passes the Krishna's test, arrests Ashwatthama and entrusts him to the Draupadi. When Draupadi sees Arjuna brought Ashwatthama bound like an animal, bound him like an animal. She is not.
she's not happy with it. And being a woman and being a kind-hearted person, and being a gentle and mild in nature, uh, Draupadi showed him due respect as Brahmana, and due to her well-behaved and female nature, Draupadi arguments against killing Ashwatthama, where Dharmayam, that religious, release him. He is a Brahmana. He is a Brahmana. He is a son of our spiritual master. Then justice, the Nyayam, uh, because of Dronacharya's mercy, you learn the military art, even the Brahmastra and all the things you have done in the battlefield is because you learned it from the Dronacharya. So, and merciful, Sakarunam, Drona is represented by his son Ashwathama, and his mother Kripi is still alive, and how she will feel. And she didn't go sati with Dronacharya because she had a son. She wants to look after his son. So how she would feel, and non-duplicious, that is Nirakayam, no good to cause pain to respectable order. She doesn't want her, that creepy, the Dronacharya's wife, to feel the pain she is feeling. And Samam, equal, do not make a devoted wife of Dronacharya cry like me. She doesn't want her to suffer or cry the way Draupadi is crying. Mahat, glorious, if the king's administrative order offends the Brahminical order and enrages them, that the fire burns the royal family. So the Yudhishthir and Nakul and Sahadev, they agree with her decision, but but Bhimsen, he didn't. He says no now, and he says no, we shouldn't spare him because he killed our sons. Now the Arjuna is in the Arjuna is in the problem because he cannot disobey his elder brother Yudhishthir, and he cannot and he promised Draupadi something, and Bhimsen, he cannot say no. Bhimsen, no, I will only I'll only listen to Yudhishthir, because even the Bhimsen's son is also killed, and he cannot leave him unpunished because his son is also killed. So Bhima angrily disagrees with them and recommend killing the culprit. So he then he looks at then Sri Krishna takes a form of four hands, and he separates them. He separates Bhima, and he separates Draupadi, and then he says that Arjuna, a Brahma Bandhu is not to be killed, but if an aggressor, he must be killed. Fulfill your promise to Draupadi, satisfy Bhima and me. So in this situation, what Arjuna does is Arjuna pauses, he reflects, like we said before, he reflects what Krishna wants me to do. He didn't, he just didn't, he is not reactive, he is responsive, because he reflects, he thoughts what is to be done in both the situations. When he captures Ashwatthama, and Krishna tells him to kill him, he also reflects at that time and captures him and bring him back to the Draupadi. And when he is put in a situation by his brothers and wife, at that time also he takes a pause, he reflects, he doesn't just he is not reactive. So in life, when you, for example, when you are giving exam and there are multiple choice questions and you don't know the answer, what happens is you feel all the answers are right. You think all like that. Currently, if he thinks politically, then the answer is different. He thinks emotionally, the answer is different, and if he thinks like a devotee, the answer is different. So he is on a crossroad about which path to take. And we are always like that in our life. We are always put on the crossroads about which decision to take and what to do. At that time, we have to stop, we have to think, we have to take a pause, we have to go within us. We have his supreme personality of Godhead. We have to go to him, we have to ask him that what should I do. He will reflect, he will definitely shower his grace, he will definitely tell you the right way. So when there is a difficult, and when you think, instead of reacting to something without thinking, in this story, this pastime, Krishna is telling us to stop, pause, think, and then reflect. And when you will reflect, that reflection will be the decision of the Lord himself. When you will take a decision without emotion, or without political, or without ego, or without your illusion, or without what you are thinking, rather than what as a devotee I should do and what Krishna wants me to do, your decision will always be right, because that is what Krishna wants us to do. So in this case, Arjuna understands what Krishna wants me to do, and he takes away the jewel from his forehead, and he takes away his hair, and he deprive him of his property, and he lets him go, and he tells him to go away. He is thrown out of the camp. The prescribed punishment from the Brahma Bandhu never includes killing, but rather cutting his hair, depriving him of his health, wealth, and depriving him from his residence. So having lost his bodily luster due to Bala Hatya, and his strength due to the loss of jewel, Ashwatthama was unbound and driven out of the camp. So in when we are in reflective, when we are in a situations where we do not know what to do, we should we should say that I have no credit to take, no independence of mine, and I am totally dependent on Krishna, ever dependent on Krishna. He is Sarva Karan Karanam. So, Lord, whenever, like, please tell me what should I do and how should I do it. So, I want to say that incidents happened with me. Is When I was very young, my father died, and none from his family ever supported us. Um, it's not that they have to support us. Now I understand it's their decision, but um, as per they should it's not that they should financially support us, but there is something called as emotional support, that don't worry, we are there with you, because they never did that. It to the such extent that after my father, that they never even invited us to the weddings of their children. They just, they just, mm, they just, like, we never, like, when our father died, we also died for them. They never looked back at what has happened to us, because they never, maybe because they never wanted to take a burden of one widow and her daughter. But of course, my mother's side, my mother's side, her brother and her sister, they were helpful. But my mom is a very strong lady, and she raised me. And so what few days ago, like last year, my brother's sister, she crossed they were they celebrated 75th birthday of hers. That is, she's my aunt, paternal aunt. So I came to know about it. So I was in a situation where, should I call her? Why should I call her? When I was emotional, why should I call her? Because she never even tried to find out whether I'm alive. Forget about my well-being or my mother's well-being. This COVID situation is there. Forget about that. Anything. They never even. The months my father died, we died for them too. So what should I do? Why should I call her? Should I call her? My mind is telling not to call her. Then one of my mind is saying, why? Did she tell you that? Did her any? She didn't even call me for her daughter's wedding. My father was the eldest son. But then I thought that I gave her a call, and I told her that it's a milestone. It's your 75th birthday, and I want to wish you on behalf of my father, because being the elder brother, if he would have been alive, uh, he definitely would have given a call, because he's the eldest one in the family, so he definitely would have given a call and wished her well. And so when I will die, and when I will face my father, if I face my father, I can tell him that yes, i I fulfill, means, though I did what I can what for you as a daughter, and I when I came to know about your sister, I called her and I fulfilled your responsibility. So over here also, Draupadi is doing the same thing, not like me, because she's more elevated than me and she is more devoted to Krishna. She said that what she thought about Dronacharya, who who is not there on, who died in the battlefield, and she thought about the Kripi, even Kripi was not even there. So this pastime of Krishna reminded me that when my father will look down, he will know that yes, I did the right thing, because that's what maybe Dronacharya wanted Arjuna and Yudhishthir to do. So there is one more story about Sindhutai Sappar. Many of you must have heard about it. Her husband threw her away when she was pregnant, and she was saved by a cow, and now she is a mother of thousands of children, grandmother of thousands of children, and she has many son-in-laws. So when her husband, who threw her out when she was 9 months pregnant, because she didn't never and they threw her in such a way that she would get killed under and she would get killed in the stampede. There was a stampede going on between bulls. So she was saved by cow, and now she has goshala as a thanks to cow, and she really looks after cows well. So when her husband came at her door and said that please accept me, because all his sons and everything, he was deprived from everything, and they threw him out, sorry, they threw him out of the house. uh, but And she accepted him. She said that I will not accept, she said, I will not accept you as a wife, but I now, because of you, I am a mother of thousands of children. I will accept you as a mother, and if you want to come to me as a mother, you can come and stay over here, and I will look after you till you are alive. And she did that, and she told all the children she adopted, that because they knew what this man did to her, he threw her under a stampede, and the cow saved her. So she said that he is the oldest child in the house, and you will treat him the way you are treating all the children. He should be looked at as a child, not as my husband, or not someone uh, who did wrong things to everybody. So she looked after him as a mother till he died. So the what Draupadi has shown is a compassion. As a devotee, if you are a devotee, you will understand that, and you have to look at the thing, and you have to always try to give a devotee response rather than political response or emotional response. Because when you give devotee response, you go to Krishna, you excavate what Krishna wants you to do, and you try to and how should I get it, how will I get that, how will I be able to give devotional response, is by association, is by chanting, and is by reading Bhagavatam and reading Bhagavad Gita and reading the books and the purpose given by Srila Prabhupada. And my personal experience is, you can forgive people, You can really forgive people, but you need a guru support. That is, you need a Srila Prabhupada. He is there with us and with his books. We have to read his books. There is Srimad Bhagavatam. There is his purpose. We have to read it. We understand. The way forgiveness is very hard to come. You have to forgive because again we are not nobody to forgive, because Sri Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam. So he is there for, if he is for if we are forgiving somebody, it's not we are forgiving, it's Krishna is telling us to forgive. So forgiveness is something that comes from Krishna. So that's it. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Wonderful class, Mataji. I love your examples and your personal story. That inspired me greatly when you told me before, and really touched my heart, and I learned something from it. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful class. Nice class, Mataji. Very nice story, and thanks for sharing your heart with all of us. Wonderful class.
It's the association of few devotees and the Srila Prabhupada's books that inspire me, that gives me strength to go through all the hard times, Mataji. Trust me, the Srila Prabhupada's book have so much of strength. It's like Srila Prabhupada is with you, and whenever you hear a Lenny lecture, you're like, oh my God, this is what is happening in my life. Every time you will listen to any lectures of Srila Prabhupada, you immediately feel, oh, Srila Prabhupada is talking about me always. And it's always like that. It's always, whatever is your mood and wherever you are, the moment you start a lecture, you feel, oh, this is what I was feeling. So, yes, we have to have a devotional response to everything, and that we can gain through Srila Prabhupada's book, reading his book, reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita.
Wonderful class.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Madhuri Kishori. I really liked your class and really liked how you shared your personal realization and the story of Sindhutai. I know Maharaj talks about her, in his lectures often. Very, very inspiring.
She has such a big Goshala now, Mataji, because she says, I'm not, it's not because he said, when everybody rejected me, cow accepted me, Go Mata accepted me. So, as a gratitude to her, as thanks to her, she has started the Goshala. And Mataji, the thing is, her orphanages, she runs it on the charities, and there are, it's very sad, but there are many girls in her orphanage. Now what happened is, in India it's a very bad habit of the people, because they don't want girl child. So instead of, they just come and put them in her orphanage. But now she says is the situation that people come to her and ask for a daughter-in-law, and she says, because she feels great, she says Krishna is so merciful, everybody comes to her door now and asks for a daughter-in-law from her orphanage.
So I've heard this story, Madhuri Kishori. So the cow actually protected her and kept her under her.
Yes, Mataji.
With the stampede.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji. She had to use a stone to cut off with the umbilical cord when she delivered the baby after the stampede.
Yeah, and I think she delivered the baby there itself. Actually, I also heard about Sindhutai in Maharaj lecture, and then I went and checked the video of Sindhutai, and then I came.
Maharaj talked about her, and because it's a very real life current example of forgiveness. I don't want to give an impression that we are taking the class away and talking about somebody in Bombay close to Chapati, but she's an example of forgiveness. And I remember a couple of years Maharaj gave a class, and the room full of brahmacharis, there were close to 200 brahmacharis, everybody was profusely crying listening to her story of forgiveness. Like the person who threw her out of the house, many years later, when he was thrown out of the house by his sons, went to her doorstep, not realizing that this is the lady who used to be my wife. And she recognized him, and as Madhuri Kishori explained, she accepted him in the house, as her son. So it's a very moving story, and it's a very inspiring story of forgiveness.
I know, but it's easy for us to hear about and think of all this forgiveness, Amrita Kelly, but we are not as forgiving even of small things, right?
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
that girl who was her child that she was carrying in the womb later became a doctor. And Maharaj said when Maharaj was interviewing her or had a meeting with her, that daughter was with her, and she became a doctor. And all her children, she had few other children too. They became very successful people, and they were helping her mission. So each one of them have now become, you know, not only did she raise wonderful children, she made them into successful people who are now helping society on their own and helping her mission. So that's such a wonderful thing, that she is taking in orphans and making such a change. She was in a bad situation and she used her bad situation to make such a positive change in the world. So that's the inspiring story.
Yeah, but I think it's really hard to forgive in the real life, right?
I know. That's what I'm trying to say also, Rajnandini. It's easy for us to say, oh, it's so wonderful. We don't forgive even small things, let alone such big things. I was also thinking of Draupadi, the earlier story that she said. Ashwatthama had killed 5 of her sons. 5. Can you picture us? Somebody killing 5 of our sons. We don't care if it was a Brahmana or a sannyasi or a Swami. You think we would be as forgiving if somebody killed 5 of our sons?
Don't
Madhuri, I have
forget about killing our sons. If somebody even says bad words, even if somebody scolds our son or our daughter,
Exactly. We
that
would be like we
killing,
would be like
we can
totally
go and
offended with
fight.
them and not
How
speak
did
for
you
them for the
say that
rest
to
of our
my
lives.
daughter
Yeah.
or son?
Yeah.
Madhuri, I have a
Yeah.
question.
So
Yes.
it's easy to say that we are learning from all this, but it's very difficult to practice.
Mataji, can I ask a question?
Hmm.
Yes, Prabhuji, but I hope I can answer you.
Well, yeah, so it's less of a question for you, but a general discussion.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you gave an example of Ashwathama being forgiven, but we also know other examples that were not forgiven. Dushasan wasn't forgiven, Karna wasn't forgiven, Duryodhan wasn't forgiven. And in other scriptures also, I'm sure there are other examples where it wasn't forgiven.
Yes.
So how do we decide like when is the right time to forgive and when is not to forgive? And even if somebody is forgiving, how long to forgive? Like, and I know this, so this question is generally for the group. I wanted to bring this up for
Yeah,
clarity.
yeah, Anand Gauranga Prabhu, I was also thinking the same. Like she was so kind to forgive Ashuddhama, but I think from my angle, I think Kauravas, they did a lot of sins. They have committed not just a one sins of with Draupadi, but they did a lot of sinful activity, and that's why.
Actually, think of it this way, right? Think of it this way: there are two kinds of punishment for a very heinous crime. One is capital punishment, where you are hanged to death, or there's capital punishment and you are killed, right? And one is lifetime imprisonment. Think of lifetime imprisonment as a punishment. Like, okay, the person is not killed, but he is in a jail, in a cellar. There is no window in his room. He's given maybe like basic meager meals 3 times a day. He does hard work, and when he's 80, 85, or 90, when his lifetime sentence is completed, he dies. Is that life?
So Amrit Keli, you're saying Ashwatthama is the
So
lifetime.
yeah, Ashwathama, what? Okay, so he was deprived of. So to me, you know
Death was
it's very
better than that,
natural
right?
that it's very natural for us to think of only death as a punishment. Parikshit Maharaj also left his body. That was not a punishment. He had a glorious departure. So it's very natural, because, and I was reading Bhagavatam the other day. Because we have had a body for so many lifetimes, we 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 just completely identify ourselves with the body. So the loss of the body is the only punishment we think of. But to me, Ashwathama is, Duryodhan and Dushasan were killed, and whatever their destination was, they left. But look at Ashwathama. He is roaming around in the material world, in a horrible situation, no power. As soon as the money was taken away, he became old, and he immediately lost his strength and youth and valor and everything. And to roam around in the material world for thousands of years in that state, is that it's certainly not a blessing, right?
No, especially for a kshatriya, one who's been famous. Infamy is worse than death. The
And
pride.
Duryodhana, Jiva, didn't Duryodhana get some nice destination in the end because he died in the battlefield in front of Krishna?
Yeah, they all did.
They all did, right? So even Karna, Duryodhana, yeah, all did, exactly. So they actually reached a better destination than Ashwatthama in one sense, yeah.
Why forgive? So then
Draupadi
why forgive?
and the Pandavas never wanted the war. They never wanted to kill anybody. They never said that we want to fight. They tried to resolve. They tried to have a peaceful things. Like they asked for only 5 villages, and they were not even ready to give them 5 villages. It's not all about taking revenge for Draupadi. It was because Duryodhana was becoming a king, a very, you can say, a very not very good king, and he keep ruling would definitely would have bad consequences. Then this war, he would if he would have been king for more years, the more people would have died because of his bad administration, or because of his, and he never would have stopped his hatred for Pandavas. But in that situation also, when the Krishna went and he said, we just want 5 villages, they were not even ready to give 5 villages. They were not ready to fight. They were not happy that they killed Pitama Bhishma, or they killed Dronacharya. They were not happy about it. What Ashwathama did was, he wanted to please somebody. Yudhishthir and the Pandavas never did this war to please somebody or to please themselves or please Draupadi. They did it because it was a dharma. And what Ashwathama did was, it was a coward attack. He just did it not to please Duryodhan. He had no other intentions. There was no dharma, nothing.
But Anand Gauranga asked a good question, why forgive, So
But-
forgiveness, I think that's for the glorification of Draupadi, first of all. And second of all, he was a Brahmin, right? I mean, that's for the glorification of Draupadi, who still respected Brahmanas in spite of what happened to her,
Yeah, but
Mataji, can I add something here?
No, but what was Ananda Gauranga saying? Dronacharya?
Yeah, Dronacharya was also a Brahmana, but he was fighting, so he was taking a role of a Kshatriya and he got killed. And same
Right.
with Ashwathama. He was also, war was still going on. It was still
Right.
fighting.
War was
So
not
he was-
He got killed.
he did when they were sleeping. When the
Right.
war,
It was not on the battlefield,
it
yeah.
was not on the battlefield. He did it when they were sleeping, and he didn't want to. And he killed the sons of Draupadi. He thought that he is killing Pandavas. In the sleep, he thought they are Pandavas sleeping. He never thought that they are Draupadi's children who are sleeping there. So, as per scriptures, a prescribed punishment for Brahma Bandhu, that is, a Brahma Bandhu is somebody who is friend of Brahmana or son of Brahmana, that never include killing, but rather cutting his hair, depriving him of his wealth, and depriving him from his residence. That is the punishment prescribed in scriptures for the Brahma Bandhu.
Sivanandini wanted to say something. Sivanandini, you
Yeah.
wanted to say something?
Yes, Mataji, I was just wanted to say that Draupadi forgave just because she was thinking about Kripi, right? She lost her husband, and if she will even lose her, and she didn't go for sati, which was prescribed in that age, and because even if they will kill Ashwathama, then whom will she live for? That was the reason why Draupadi forgave.
And in this pastime, Krishna wants us to think, give a devotional response, And as the battle is over, and as the battle is over, as Pandava they won, and the new beginning is starting. So Krishna wants to uh, give this example of how, as a Pandavas will deal in now, they will have a devotional life. They will, though they are a ruler, they will be ruling as a devotee of Krishna. So, how their devotional response should be, and how they should go further now in their life after war is over. War is now over. Whatever has happened. Now it's a new beginning, and in this new beginning, where you are being a ruler, how you will do it, whether you will behave like a Duryodhana, or whether you will behave like a Karna, or you will behave like a devotee of a Krishna. Keep Krishna in center, think what Krishna wants for you, and rule. So this pastime gives us a glimpse, also you can say, of how the Yudhishthir as a king is going to rule from henceforth. I think so. So war is over, Bhagavad Gita is over, Bhagavatam has started. It's about Krishna and how to center the life, your life around Krishna and rule. And that is how, by this pastime, the Yudhishthir, Arjun, and everybody prove that they are the true devotees of Krishna, and they want to rule now as a devotee of Krishna, not as the warriors who heard Bhagavad Gita, not as people who fought and killed so many people. I think that's the thing.
Mataji, one more thought is coming. Can I share?
Yes, please, Prabhuji, please.
So around the same, I know I've been so listening and trying to see like what explains it, and this is coming to my mind. So here in this case, the victim was Draupadi, right? Her sons were killed
Prabhuji.
by
Even
Ashwatthama.
Pandavas are also victims because it's
Yeah,
their
but
father.
yeah. So if I assume mother gets a better,
Okay.
a bigger right.
Okay.
So I think the prime victim here is Draupadi. So the decision to forgive or to punish is also hers. And it just matters she decided to punish, she decided to forgive in the case of Ashwatthama, whereas she decided not to forgive in the case of others like Dushasan, Duryodhan, Karna, and it's just her decision. So what this also shows is, after seeing the destruction, maybe she realized, like after the war, seeing so many widows and lives lost, she was done with her.
No, Anand Gauranga, I don't think so. I think Sevanandi's answer is correct. She really was thinking of Krapi also. That was another main reason. I don't think it was just that she was feeling
mothers were
desolate.
involved in the other killings also. Why were those mothers not thought of?
Because they had husbands. Dushasana's Dhritarashtra was there. And who else? Karna's both parents were there. So they were the Kripi was, she could relate to it. That
So
she
it
was.
ultimately comes down to Draupadi, right? So I don't think I think there was more.
Because she had lost her sons herself, she did not want Krapi to lose her son. So there was an empathy there, at that point.
I'm going to let Anand Gauranga Prabhu dwell on this the entire day today. But in my heart, I know that this pastime establishes the glory of Draupadi as a great devotee of Krishna by making the decision to not kill Ashwatthama, and it equally serves the punishment of, uh, you know, doing, giving him the punishment basically he deserves. Think of a person who's lying in a hospital, in a very painful situation. These people actually say, okay, Lord, that's it, I cannot take anymore, let death come to me, right? So in those cases, death actually is better than staying alive. I don't think Ashwatthama is in a, he may be alive, he was forgiven, he was, his life was not taken away, but the life that he must have lived after that was probably worse than death.
Mm-hmm.
So yes,
Yeah, it's lifetime imprisonment, like you said.
That's like lifetime imprisonment, being in,
Yeah.
like just roaming around in the material world with no
Like a
stress.
madman, yeah.
Like a madman, yeah.
Hare Krishna devotee, this is Rasras Das. I'm listening all things. So just wanted to add my opinion here, right? If you agree, Mataji, if you want, allow me to speak. So to understand this, right, we need to understand entire episode. Okay. So how it started, unless until we understand entire episode, it's very difficult to understand why, Aswathama uh, was not punished, right? Or were not punished to kill that. So, okay. So the incident starts, right? Krishna, right? As Mataji said, first Aswathama just wanted to satisfy. Basically, Aswathama wants to take the revenge. Okay. First revenge was his father. His father killed, right? And second reason was from the childhood, he has a very very strong grudge on especially Arjuna, right? Because every time because all were taking the training from Dronacharya, but because of Arjuna's skill, like Dronacharya always become, it's like Arjuna become dear student of Dronacharya. So that's where Aswathama developed that girls. Okay, why Arjuna is taking my position? I should be very dear to my father. So that's the girls. And third, the last incident, right? Right. So that's the thing, and he performed a heinous act. Then obviously Arjuna wanted to kill him immediately. Then he wanted to kill, but then also he didn't kill at the same time because he captured Aswathama. At that time, Arjuna was present there. Krishna was present there. Krishna started chastising, hey, what you're doing? You came here to kill Aswathama. Why are you not killing? You're capturing. Then, but, actually seeing that, why it is right. Aswathama is a Brahmin. Okay. So, and then when Arjuna took captured or arrested Aswathama and took to Draupadi gives 6 reasons, very prominent reason, 6 reasons. So let's discuss that. What is the 6th reason? First, see that in terms of religious principle, dharmam. So she's saying that he is the Brahmana. So our son of our spiritual master. So in terms of dharma, in the religious, he's taking. Second reason, Nayam, justice. Okay. Justice is that because of the Dronacharya mercy, Arjuna and all the Pandava, you learn the training from all the skilling, all the fighting skill, you think about in the justice, in that justice, leave him. Third point, uh, uh, third point is the merciful, Drona represented by his son Aswathama. The Kripi is still living, that's what, if you Mataji heard that, right? That is the fourth reason, non-duplicities. Okay, don't no, not good to cause pain to respectful order. Not because see, think about you are trying to kill Aswathama because I am feeling distress, right? So think about, don't become depleted, because even if you kill Aswathama, Kripi is still alive, still will face the similar kind of situation what I'm feeling now. So don't become duplicitous, nirvailikam, that's what. And fifth reason, samam, don't make same reason, don't make Dronacharya wife to cry, samam, be equal to everyone, sixth reason, glorious, think about that. If being such a elevated position, Kshatriya position, if you kill a Brahmana, what happens then? If the kingly administrative order offends Brahmanical order, and then what happened? There is a chaos will happen, right? This being such a elevated position as a Kshatriya reason, they killed a Brahmana. So that's why the Draupadi give this 6 reason, not to kill. And Krishna originally also didn't want to kill Aswathama, because he's thinking about in the in Brahmanas usually should not be killed. And there you may ask question, then why they killed Dronacharya? If you think the Mahabharat, it says that, even the Pandavas did not want to kill Dronacharya. They want to arrest it. Even Krishna wanted to arrest the Dronacharya, but that is the separate, different reason that Drishtadyumna, he has all his, that stories, right? Why he want to kill. He took that advantage and killed that, right? But actually speaking, even Pandavas didn't want to kill the Dronacharya. They want to arrest it and keep it. Like that's what they want to win. So then finally the episode come. Okay, now the two parties have come. One party, if you see that previous slide which Mataji described that Krishna originally didn't want to kill Aswathama, but he want to test it. He want to test the. Let's see how Arjuna is still, after hearing entire Bhagavad Gita, still Arjuna is in the same platform, or he has got the religious principle. That's what. But Arjuna got passed on that. Even Arjuna didn't want to kill on all this basis, but Bhima wants to kill, right? So there was a two parties. Then finally, what Mataji said, right? Krishna expanded as a four-arm form and tried to stop that. And as everyone agreed that, better than killing is taking, he got a punishment. He lost. They took away his the precious jewel from the head, and also cut his hair. When the Kshatriya's head is what do you call, the hair is cut, that equivalent to punishment, this more than punishment of killing, right? So by all this angle, right, that's what he saved. He's been punished. That's what I wanted to add to.
As in case of Rukmi also, right? It happened. Krishna has cut off his hair and mustaches in half, and then that was, he did not even return to his kingdom after that. It is because worse than that.
So Mataji, usually in our life, I see we start forgiving when we are in a comfortable position. Sometimes some things happen by someone, and those are, if we feel those are trivial, nothing bothers me a lot, we say okay, leave it. But if some things are so much like not trivial enough, but then the time is a solution. Then over a period of time we get softer, and then okay, now I forgive. So that's something I have seen. But especially with Draupadi, she was in an already tough situation, and then she showed a forgiveness. That's really something that we need to learn.
That is real forgiveness. You're right.
That is real. And then another thing is forgiving without someone is asking for forgiveness, right? There are two situations. Sometimes we are like so conditioned, we say, oh, unless that person asks for forgiveness, I'm not gonna forgive. That is condition number one. And number two is without someone asking, you are forgiving. That is maybe an elevated thing, but like we are conditioned, right? When we fight with someone, we expect that person should come and say sorry to me first, then I'll say okay, it's okay, right? So these are the two things I also think.
I know, actually Jiva Mataji says this all the time, that a Vaishnava does not take offense even when there's offense to be taken, right, Jiva?
Yeah, there's a verse in the Bhagavatam that the Vaishnava is like, oh, what is that verse? He's not offended even if someone kills him.
Right. I think Niranjan Maharaj has listed that.
Yeah.
There are several reasons. Yeah.
So
I can't
forgiveness,
remember now.
we can never hear too much about forgiveness. It's a foremost quality of a Brahmana. And Prabhupada always said that a gentleman always thinks before he speaks. I wanted to mention that because you talked a lot about reflecting. And in order to forgive, it takes a lot of reflecting. And it's really important to pause and reflect before we act. It's really wonderful points you brought up today in today's class. But forgiveness is so important because we can never, if we hold on something into our heart, we can't progress. We're always meditating on that, and it makes our heart.
So Jiva Mataji, when Diksha Guru or Shiksha Guru, when he chastised the disciple, whether that chastising is also kind of a forgiveness, Mataji?
Chastising is a forgiveness? Oh,
I
like
mean,
a disciple does something wrong. You're
a
saying,
disciple did something wrong, but
oh,
Guru
yeah,
is actually correcting him by way of
exactly.
chastising. Is that a
Exactly.
forgiveness?
Prabhupada repeatedly said that it's my duty to correct you. You know, don't mind, it's my duty to correct you. That's what it is. Yeah. It's out of love. It's actually out of,
Yeah.
and that's
And chastisement and praise are the same thing, Jiva, right? From the Guru Maharaj. I've heard that before. Whether it's praise or chastisement, it's the same thing.
yeah, but I would rather get the praise. You imagine being chastised by Prabhupada? Like so many devotees, if they're chastised by Prabhupada, they wanted to end their life. They said, my life is useless, you know, they just wanted to die.
I'm happy that I'm just recognized by my Guru Maharaj, whether it's chastisement or praise.
But in the ultimate sense, yes, you know, it's meant for the purification of the heart, you know, our ego and attachments. And yeah, I mean, forgiveness takes great strength. It's a, you know, really something we have to work on, you know, we could practice, but it takes great strength. You have to give up your ego, your false ego, that I deserve something better than this, you know. We have to see it coming from Krishna.
Very good point. Thank you, Jivama.
Very nice class. Thank you.
Yeah, Madhuri Kishori, you got us all going on forgiveness. Thank you.
I've been waiting to hear you. She was my Hindi guru. I had a few Hindi classes with her, and she was always a wonderful teacher. Very nice.
And so such nice stories also that you brought up.
Oh, I never heard of that story before of the woman. What is her name? I missed part of it too, but what is her name?
Sindhutai.
Sindhu?
Sindhutai Sakpar.
Sindhutai?
Sakpar.
Sakpar. Interesting, huh?
Mataji, she lived in Samshan, that is crematory grounds, because she was a young woman. At night, where to live, you know, because the world is full of predators. So she used to take her like a 2-month-old child, and she used to live in a crematory at night, and people used to think that there is a ghost roaming in the crematory and she would be saved.
Well, how did she end up there, though?
Her husband threw her out of the house.
Why?
He is a man.
Mataji, her husband was a landlord, and there was another landlord in the village who was cheating people. And she found out about the landlord or this man who was cheating other people, and she informed the villagers. And as a, you know, as a means to get even with her, this this cheater, he went and told her husband that the child that your wife is carrying is somebody else's child.
Yeah, okay. I thought that was
Her husband kicked her out, and she was like full term expecting that time. And you know, she like
it was about yes, Amrita Keli. He was a typical. First of all, her husband, he was a typical man, and the thing is, this Mataji Sindhutai Sakwa always wanted to go to school, but because she was from such a community, she got married so early. But she was a wise lady, so she fought, like Mataji said, that when you in India, if you sell the wood to that contractor, the landlord, which Amrita Kelly is saying, the government has given a fixed price you have to give. But instead of that, he was not giving that price to the ladies who were collecting woods from the forest. So she fought against it. And to get back at her, he told her husband that this child is not yours. So, yes.
Wow.
And she was, I think she was just 19 years old. She got married when she was 15 or something, Mataji. Mataji, Sindhutai Sakpa shared her one realization about Sri Krishna. She said the 2 times she felt that Krishna wants her to live. 2 times she felt that because she tried to commit suicide, and when she went to commit a suicide, there she saw a beggar who was who was very ill and who was suffering. He had a high fever. She took care of him, and at that time she said that at that time I understood that Krishna wants me to, to save people, to serve people, and not to die. And one time she was going in the bus, and she was fighting with the bus conductor, that because she was not wearing good clothes, she was wearing all torn clothes. The conductor said that you are a beggar, get out of here. She said, what do you mean by beggar? This is a government bus. She is always a fighting lady. She said, what do you mean by beggar? I have a money for ticket. He said, you smell so bad, you get out of here. And she said, why? Because I'm poor, I'm wearing this clothes, and my clothes smell, they are torn, that's why you're taking me this. The conductor said, no, you get out of here. So there was one old person. He told her that I'm also a beggar like you. I'm very hungry. Can you please give me tea and biscuit? You know, chai pav, not biscuit pav. So he said, she thought, okay, instead of fighting with this conductor, I should give this old man tea. So she takes him to the tea stall. And when the bus was going out of the bus depot, the lightning strikes the bus, and everybody dies in that bus. And so she's like, oh my god, what is this? I'm saved. And that's what she turned around to tell that to that old person, and that person is nowhere to be seen. So she said that Krishna always helped me in my path, saying that I shouldn't die, I shouldn't give up. My mission to come over here is to serve, and I should serve Krishna through helping the people.
Very nice. Mataji, do you know how old is the story? I mean,
Movie,
this lady.
I think now she's a 60, 65 years old. You can, if you Google her, you will find out. You have some YouTubes about her, then she will tell you all her life stories. You can hear her. The best thing about her is she has started a Goshala, and Guru Maharaj was so happy that she started a Goshala, and she is paying
Thank
back.
you for sharing, Mataji. Very nice story about that Sindhu Tai.
She tried to commit suicide, and Krishna always helped her. Krishna always showed her the way that this is not why.
Did she take shelter under Radhanath Maharaj, Madhuri Kishori?
No, Mataji. I don't know. No, she hasn't.
Where is her Goshala?
Mataji, there you have. I think I'll have to search and tell you. But she has started a Goshala. I'll have to Google it.
Actually, when I first heard her story from Guru Maharaj, I was kind of, thinking that Haridas Thakur was forgiving. Jesus Christ was, saying, forgive them for they know not. It's a very, we that stage comes when we stop identifying with the body and the false ego. That's when this level of forgiveness comes only at that stage. But Gitamala Mataji, to your point, we can start over forgiving for trivial matters.
Mataji, there is a site, her site, www.sindhutaistakpa.org. So if you go there, you will know where the Goshala is and what are her programs. So she has a website, sindhutaisakpa.org.
Mataji, also, did you mention that her husband didn't knew that he's going to his wife when he came to take shelter?
Yes, he was just looking for a shelter. He did not know it was her.
Mataji, there was a huge age gap between them. She was 15 years old and he was 35-year-old when they got
Okay,
married.
Mataji.
If you can see, this is her.
Very nice class, Madhuri Kishori.
Thank you, Mataji.
All our debut performers are giving rocking performances.
No, Mataji, nothing like that. I was.
Devanandani, Vrajnandani, now Madhuri Kishori.
Thank you for and please forgive me if I made any mistakes, Jiva Mataji. I just tried.
Can you go back to that first page of your PP PowerPoint? You were saying 3 things that will disappear if you read the Bhagavatam. Madhuri Kishori, on your very first page, I think you. No, that's second page, I guess. Not that one. No, next one.
Yeah, Mataji, Shoka, Moha, Bhaya is
Yeah,
here.
Shoka,
Lamentation,
yeah.
illusion, and fear.
Lamentation,
Yes.
yeah. What were the 3 things? Lamentation,
illusion, and fearfulness.
illusion, and fearfulness.
And this also represent past, present, and future, right? Sokha means lamentation, where something happened in your past, and the illusion is present, and bhaya means for something will happen in future. So that's why when we, because if you see in our life, we will be getting anxiety, so many problems, because past, present, and future, and that's why it represents Sokha, Moha, and Vaya.
Yeah, and the next page, she said, we are lamenting at every moment, and we are putting faith in illusory things, and we are fearful of losing something or something. In our next page, she gives a little more detail on these 3 things. That's where I was reading it, I think.
So Mataji, the thing is, pause, think, stop, pause, reflect, and then handle the situation.
Stop, reflect, and handle the situation, you're saying?
Stop, pause.
Pause.
Stop, pause.
Reflect.
Reflect.
And then act.
Yes, Mataji.
Stop, pause, reflect, and act.
Yes, you have to be, you don't have to be reactive, you have to be reflective. That's what that devotion.
Oh, I like that.
Devotional response should be. Your devotional response should be reflective. And if your and your response is reflective, then definitely there is a Krishna in that thought. If your thought is just reactive, there is no Krishna in that. There is your ego, there is your you in that. Your ego is in that. So being a devotee, we shouldn't be giving your response. You should, when we represent, because we represent somebody like Srila Prabhupada, and when we represent Srila Prabhupada, he has given us opportunity to Mataji, think about it. We came to this country 6 years ago. We didn't know anybody. Just we entered in the temple, just because we go to the temple and we have a Srila Prabhupada as Guru Maharaj. Everybody trusted us with blindfolds. It's not even possible. You don't even trust the person, courier boy standing in front of your house. You have CCTV cameras everywhere. But when you are in a temple and you said, I follow Srila Prabhupada, everybody, be it anybody who's in that, who are devotees, they just blindfold and they say, yes, I trust you. And that is the power of Srila Prabhupada and his book. And just because he allowed us to take his name as his disciples, we can do this because people just trust us. Mataji, when we went to New Jersey, people just opened their houses to us and say, yes, come and stay. Nobody is asking who are they, what are they. Even when you go to the motel, you have to show so many. You have to show driving license. You have to show some identification. Just Srila Prabhupada's name is such a huge identification that all this material identification nobody wants. So when we represent him, we try to represent him. Our actions should be reflective, not reactive. Because when we will say, people will say, see, these people think they are from ISKCON. See, this is what ISKCON is. So when we have a huge responsibility of saying his name, not even following, just saying his name, that I want to follow him. We have such a huge responsibility that we should stop, pause, be reflective, then be reactive. Because when we say something, it's Srila Prabhupada's mercy we are saying. And his mercy that we can see Krishna in such a beautiful form through his books. And for that, people trust us blind, all the devotees, they just blindfoldly trust you. And for that trust, I think it's our duty to stop, pause, and reflective.
I know. Let's hope that'll be our identification to go back to Goloka Vrindavan, because we know we have no qualification.
And another thing about pausing is you're more likely to act from use your intelligence. When we don't pause, stop, pause, and reflect, oftentimes we just act with our emotion, and that can get us into trouble.
Krishna says there are three, in this pastime, Krishna shows us three responses we can give. Political response, that is tit for tat. You can just, he killed my children, I will kill him. This is what a political response is. This is emotional response. Oh, he killed my children, they were in sleep. How can he do this to a mother? And this, and the war is over, everything is over. You're not supposed to, by religious way also it's a wrong thing, because in olden days, once there is a sunset, you are not supposed to harm anybody. You are not enemies anymore. It's like that. So this is a, but devotional response is what Krishna wants me to do. Now the war is over. This war is over. We are having a new beginning. Yudhishthira is going to be a king. How the people should know that how the Yudhishthira is going to rule this land henceforth, and that is by following Krishna, that is by being his own being his devotee. So the devotional response was very important at that time, to start a new life for all the people who were in who are in who were in trouble, or who has, everybody on the earth has lost somebody. So for someone to understand, for them, it is, I think it was Krishna's pastime to tell us that okay, Bhagavad Gita, and that is over. Bhagavatam is all about love, devotion. Now you have to live your life with devotional response. That's what I think.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. What is next, Mataji?
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Kripa Sindhubhaya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha.
Antakoti
Hare
Madhuri
Krishna.
Kishori Mataji ki jai.
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.